Hello. Hope you're all good. Happy New Year. So what we got? Let me check just to make sure that I am live because for whatever reason this wasn't popping up on my. Oh, here we are. Yep, we are live. Okay. So happy New Year. Hope you're all good. Hope you all had a prosperous one, an eventful one, and hopefully a safe one. Hopefully. So who we got in the chat? PED. What is up? Midweek live. Yeah, I thought you know what we'd do this as a last minute. I was hoping to have a fighter or two on tonight, but I think one of them fell asleep. So I thought I'd just go live myself. I was waiting for a couple of channels that I'm sub to finish their live. Obviously, what I didn't want to do is cross act them. So we'd agree. What's up? Hey, the unboxing. How can I say Ortiz is owed a shot more than White? Because they are crazy. That's why. They are crazy. Not my proudest fab. Who do you believe was the hardest puncher between Foreman, Liston, and Shavers? That would be between Shavers and Foreman, I think. Although maybe George Foreman potentially. Yeah. Tyler Bussett. What's up? Tyler Boom. Happy New Year, Plu. Red TV. Happy New Year. Bob Weaver. Yes. Ginger Guy. Good evening. RM. Mike Garcia versus Errol Spence. What's your pick? Well, Errol Spence Jr. Obviously, he's got two weight classes advantage, and he's used to fighting at that weight. I felt that when Mike Garcia he fought Lipinets, he looked a little flat at times. Against Broner, he looked pretty good at 140, but I think 147, he might be carrying a bit too much weight that he's not used to. So that's pretty much my thinking behind that one. Dillian Whyte will unify the heavyweight division. Very good chance of it. Very good chance. We'd agree. Hope everybody has a blessed new year. Indeed, do. Vital Fusion X. Fury outpricing himself against AJ. I'm not too sure what it is that he's asking for. Before the Wilder fight, he was saying 60-40 in his favour. But since then, I haven't really heard too much. I heard Frank Warren say 50-50 split. I've heard Ben Davison say 50-50 split. But I haven't heard anything from Tyson Fury about it. Visio, Happy New Year. Woody Hoots, howdy doody. Stephen B, Happy New Year. Bramity Bram, Happy New Year's. Kato Ruiz, go away AJ, will beat White again. Not necessarily. 80s horror fan, ATA. Just hope Tyson cleans up the division this year. We'll have to wait and see what it is that he wants to do this year. I think he's going to have a good rest. I think he deserves a good rest, and then we'll see what happens. We really will. Foss 44. Does anyone think Wilder will fight AJ or not? Nah, I don't think so. Unless an absolutely ludicrous offer comes in, more so than the 28 million that is allegedly on offer. So who knows? We'd agree. Appreciate the link to the website. Appreciate it. Chris V. The Miller fight. It's a difficult one. I mean, for me, I'm kind of of the mind now. If AJ is going to go to America to fight Miller, why is he not going to go to America to fight Wilder? What's really the difference? But I don't know. Fan Apples, what's up? Now, it's going to get to a point where there's going to be quite a lot of people in the chat, and I'm going to miss a lot of comments. So I do apologize. Just repeat your comment. What is going on with that picture? That's a terrible picture. Let me move that down. Hey, let's get into that. Okay. Big Barrel Miller. Tyler, I think Dillian deserves a better deal than Fury or Wilder. Dillian has headlined his last three fights. He's also contributed to AJ reaching world level after they fought. Yeah, I mean, Dillian did put AJ on the map as such. I mean, I'm not going to say that AJ wouldn't have gotten the map anyway, but that was the fight. That was the one that broke out. And it was Dillian who sold that fight, really. It was Dillian that got AJ into the minds of a lot of casual fans, I suppose you could say. What Wilder fight Brazil next? Weepy Crooks could even order it. Yeah, well, they already said before the Fury fight that what they want to do is order the mandatory because Wilder, you see, he's been champion for was it 4 years or thereabouts, and he's only fought one mandatory, which is absolutely disgusting. So, yeah, I mean, Dominic Brazil, he's the mandatory, whether we like that, whether we don't. Personally, I think it should be Dillian Whyte or at least Dillian Whyte versus Brazil in a final eliminator. But the WBC doing what they do. ordered Dominic Brazil's mandatory. So Brazil needs his shot, that's for sure. Danny Knowles, Wilder White, yeah. But again, Wilder, he's already outpriced himself. So, well, say outpriced himself with White. He turned down $8 million to fight Dillian Whyte and sent a text message to Dillian Whyte saying, I want to freeze you out for 2 years, which is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting behaviour. James Edwards, what do you see from Billy Joe Saunders? Well, hopefully a good 2019. Hopefully he gets his act together. I mean, that's the most important thing. He should get a shot at Demetrius Andrade. That's just my opinion, of course. But I don't know whether or not that's really going to happen, because there seems to be like a lot of fiery talk between Frank Warren, Billy Joe Saunders, and Eddie Hearn, right? I mean, it really does. So it's possible. It's possible, but I think the WBO need to order that one as soon as possible, in my opinion. AD, welcome, bro. RM, Joshua Buatsi versus Doug Anthony Yard. How do you see it going? Well, I don't see the fight happening, to be honest. I don't think Frank Warren wants Anthony Yard to step up against any domestic level fighter. Buatsi, Callum Johnson, Hosea Burton, you name it. Maybe Spider Richards and Jake Ball you could probably throw in there as well. I don't think that he wants him in there with any of these guys. It's just my opinion, which is why they're probably looking at Barrera. So I mean, the fight against Sullivan Barrera wouldn't be too bad for Anthony Yard. But I think if Buatsi and Yardy fought, it's a tough one to pick. It really is. But I think I'll probably just have to edge it with Buatsi. But listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. The Supernaturals. Love how they ignored Brazil as mandatory and gave title shot to Fury instead, even though he's only fought. Well, yeah, exactly. You see, WBC are all about money. That's just how it is. There's no hiding behind it. The WBC love money, hence the reason why the WBC keep on making belts all the time. They even made a belt for the Pope. If they met the Queen, they'd make a belt for the Queen. I mean, it's ridiculous. Canelo Triple G. Canelo told them, I want nothing to do with you, but they still made a belt. This is the first time round. They make special belts for everything. They really do. So, yeah, WBC are all about money. Tyson Fury was obviously going to promote this event very, very well, which is what he'd done. And, yeah. Heavy D. Wasn't they line up Yard for Shackman Pitters after winning Ultimate Boxing? Probably. I didn't see that Ultimate Boxing thing. I heard about it and it sounded pretty good, but I never actually got around to watching any of it, to be honest with you. So, some about trash talking AJ just because he's on PBC. Is that the Lennox Lewis thing? Well, I think that Lennox Lewis is, I don't know what it is with him. One day he's praising AJ, the next day he's trashing him. But yet, he just never trashes Wilder, really. Other than the fact he did say Tyson Fury did win that fight. But outside of that, he just doesn't do it. Listen, I know that Lennox Lewis is good friends with Tyson Fury. With Deontay Wilder, but I don't know. I think that Lennox Lewis is just hater. I don't think he wants Joshua to be undisputed. That's my honest opinion, because Joshua's getting the kind of love that he never got, which is just how it is. Too many belts now. I agree. But at the same time, you know what? It's one of those situations where it makes it quite interesting, I suppose. If you've got one champion, I suppose in some ways they could hold that belt hostage, and then we very, very rarely, maybe once, maybe twice a year, you might just see a title defense. So, and I suppose at least with a few belts, we get to see heavyweight title fights. Billy Joe versus Chris Eubank Jr. Part 2. That'd be an interesting one. It really would. Although I heard from Matt Wetherill from Miss Combat's Radio, formerly the Boxing Boys. He said to me today that the PBC could be holding a press conference tomorrow, and it could be to announce Chris Eubank Jr. and James DeGale on ITV pay-per-view. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Lennox spent one too many. Oh, sorry, it went. Well, for whatever reason, for some reason, I can only see a small part of my chat, so I am going to be missing quite a bit of what you guys say. So, is Rob on MCR? Yes, he is. We'd agree. He is. Yes, him and Matt. Lewis needs to stop hating. Intellect, absolutely correct. Say cool. What's up? Hope you're good. Mand Osolo, what is up? Bad apples in the house. Cuddle, my friend. Hope you're good, brother. Michael Folan. Billy Joe. Oh, sorry, it went. Terry, what is up? No disrespect to Ortiz, but he doesn't deserve AJ yet. I agree. Listen, I'm not going to hate on the fight if it happens, but I think Dillian Whyte deserves it more. Andy Essex, what's up? La Chiga, what's up? Bungle One, Tommy Judd, Cobra W. Who'd like to see Joseph Parker fight next? I'd like to see him take on maybe Ortiz. I think that'd be an interesting one. Or Carlos Takam, a rematch, of course. Joseph Parker against, well, no, actually, I think Joseph Parker against Lucas Brown. Now, I know that Dave Allen wants Lucas Brown, David Price wants Lucas Brown, but I feel if Parker and Brown don't get it on now, it's going to become too late because I think Lucas Brown is at the wrong end of his career to be stalling. So I think him versus Parker needs to happen. Huge fight down under, so why not? Why not? Ortiz versus Povetkin. Yeah, that'd be a great fight. That'd be a great fight. Although I did hear about a month or two ago that Jay Jimenez, the manager of Luis Ortiz, was saying that potentially they're talking to Eddie Hearn about rejoining Matchroom. So if that happens, obviously Povetkin is also with Matchroom as well as his own world of boxing. So yeah, that should be a pretty easy fight to make. It's a fight that people would love to see. Really would be. In some ways, it's a headline of its own. But where would you headline it? Would Luis Ortiz want to go to Russia? I don't know. If not, it'd be an excellent co-main event for a Joshua on April 13th, wouldn't it? Sting Crow was up. Iron Kong. Didn't Eddie say Ortiz was re-signed with him for 3 fights? Yeah, exactly. That's what I kind of heard. Well, it was Jay Jimenez I heard it from. So I don't quite know. I haven't heard any Herden speak about it, actually. Ortiz wasn't even a good amateur. Well, this is the thing, you see. I mean, I've always liked Ortiz. I've always liked him, but I feel that he's been overrated. I mean, he never achieved too much as an amateur and hasn't achieved anything as a pro. His biggest name is Brian Jennings, Malik Scott, Tony Thompson, Dave Allen. So, and his one real step up against Wilder, he got tanked. Okay, so he had things against him, and he did get Wilder in trouble, and the referee gave Wilder a little bit of help. But I do feel though that Ortiz is only going to be on the decline. He's got a thing lately where he can't cut the ring off. He couldn't cut it off against Dave Allen. He couldn't do it with Malik Scott. And his last fight with Travis Kaufman just couldn't cut the damn ring off. It's weird. RJ number one. Parker is a dangerous fight. I agree. I think Wilder's going to fight Brazil. I agree. Aaliyah, what is up? Hope you're good, girl. White beats a lot of people. Yep, totally agree. Why are people hating on Wilder? He's the best. Okay. Chisora versus Parker. That would be an interesting one. But would Parker want to fight Chisora? Chisora is one of those kind of gatekeepers where a Chisora who turns up motivated to win is very, very dangerous, very, very tough. But at the same time, he does turn up and where he can't be bothered. So it's one of those kind of hit and miss ones with Chisora. I mean, Chisora had so much potential and threw it all away, going off the rails, especially when he was with Frank Warren. A lot of you guys will remember the David Haye and Chisora clash at the Vitaly Klitschko press conference. See, again, Chisora, he did well against like Vitaly Klitschko. He looked great. He really did. But he just went off the rails and just hasn't really recovered since. So, Anthony Gavin, what split do you think AJ Fury should have? In my personal opinion, 60-40 in AJ's favor. Purely because I think that Tyson Fury brings huge star power. And if they were to have it at Wembley, it will be a very, very split arena. It really will. So I think that Tyson Fury, he brings a lot of star quality with or without belts. So, yeah, he deserves a very, very good payday with him. That's for sure. That is for sure. I'd like Rhino to, yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good one. I think Rhino, he's going to be fighting next time out, so he's having a good rest. Hopefully, he's using his time wisely, getting in the gym, getting in shape, proper shape this time, taking it real serious. And April 13th, against a decent opponent, potentially a Lucas Brown or a Carlos Takam, something like that. So, yeah, Wilder's a new Adonis. And not my proudest fap. What are your thoughts of the upcoming heavyweight? I'm sorry, I just missed that bit. I do apologise. That's what I mean. The chat seems very, very small today. So I've got to read them real quick. Yo, Jack, what's up? RJ number one, 70-30 or 65 Joshua. Yeah. Fair one. Dave Allen versus David Price. I agree. I think that fight should happen. I really do. But at the same time, it's a make or break for both of them, isn't it? So the loser is going to be walking that walk of shame, aren't they? So, I think the loser be quite difficult to come back from. But well, I say that I think Dave Allen could afford to lose against David Price, but David Price certainly can't afford to lose to Dave Allen at this stage of his career, at his age. So, hey, happy New Year, bro. Happy New Year. Hope you're good. Martins as well. Hello. Celtic 67. Mayweather versus Dave Allen. Sam Johnson, White versus Brazil. You see, that's a fight. You see, a lot of you guys would have seen the video from a couple of months ago, where I said that I feel Eddie Hearn needs to make more of a push with Dillian Whyte versus Deontay Brazil to sort out that mandatory position, because right now Dillian Whyte would be the official mandatory now. So Wilder either has to fight a rematch with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury saying that he may wait a bit longer, or he's going to have to fight AJ, or he's mandatory, which will be Dillian Whyte. So either way, Wilder has to fight a Brit next, but Eddie Hearn didn't want to listen. He wanted to make the Chisora fight. Listen, it was a good fight. Dillian Whyte earned a crap load of money, so more power to him. But Eddie Hearn just wanted that fight, and it wasn't about Dillian Whyte's career. It was about putting on a great fight so everybody could make a lot of money. So can't really argue with it too much. But for me, had Dillian Whyte fought Dominic Brazil and beat him, he'd be mandatory right now, and that would be called. So, I don't know why somebody was timed out there. I don't know what happened. I totally missed it. Chisora versus Parker. Yeah, I like that one. Joe Joyce versus Kaunaki. That would be a good one. Although Kaunaki, he's fighting in about a week or two, isn't he? On the Keith Thurman and Lopez undercard. So yeah, Kaunaki versus Gerald Washington. That's going to be on. I imagine Kaunaki come through that one. He's looking pretty good lately. So yeah, why not? Why not? That's a pretty good shout. Jennings or Rivas? Now, what is he? Rivas, Colombian, undefeated. But I think he hasn't been in there with anybody of any kind of note. Whereas Brian Jennings has, but he's lost. So he lost to Luis Ortiz and he lost to Vladimir Klitschko. But from those losses, he would have gained experience. So maybe he could old man Rivas. So I think maybe Brian Jennings may win that one by split decision, potentially. Yeah, smash that like button. You see, that's how out of practice I am with the live streams. That's how out of practice I am, really. So click thumbs up, people, if you don't mind. Muchas gracias. White has to be patient and wait for the big fight. It's hard to get fights on to get a belt. Yeah, I agree. Usyk versus White. That would be a real interesting one, wouldn't it? That would be a real interesting one. I think it's a tough fight to call, but obviously I want to go with Dillian Whyte. Bad guy in the building. What's up? The original bad guy, we should say as well. Foreman of A7 was scary. Yeah. Brian Brian Jennings is one of those kind of guys. I see him as pretty much on the same kind of level as Chisora. I know that may sound a bit harsh, as Brian Jennings does only have two losses, but inactivity. I mean, he's out of the ring for what, a year, maybe 2 years. He was, and he's come back and he's fought B level, no, not B level, probably C, D level fighters, and now he's got a pretty decent step up against Oscar Rivas. But if he comes through that one, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him in there with like a Chisora or something like that, to be honest. But with Jaron Miller, I want to see Jaron Miller against Dillian Whyte, of course, if Dillian Whyte can't get one of the top three. Um, or Miller versus Andy Ruiz Jr. That'd be a very good fight. Very, very good fight. Reverse, good amateur. I'm not too sure about his amateur career, to be honest. I've never really looked at it, to be honest with you. Ortiz versus Povetkin is a great fight. I agree, Jack. Totally agree. Hope you had a good one, Sporting. Thank you, Owen. And you too. Povetkin versus Usyk. Ooh, so you're talking Ukraine versus Russia. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. Especially as Povetkin's not the biggest guy in the world. He's obviously a lot heavier than Usyk. But yeah, massive fight, massive fight. The thing is, I mean, I don't quite know what Eddie Hearn's thinking anymore since the whole DAZN thing. Whereas before DAZN, I could pretty much make some kind of predictions as to what kind of fights he's going to make with their career in mind. But I don't know if he would actually make Povetkin versus Usyk. As big as what it is, I don't think he'd actually make it, to be honest. I think he'd want to keep these guys apart and fight some kind of like a Chisora kind of level or a Lucas Brown kind of level or something like that. Whereas they're kind of like, they're not like Joshua, Fury, White, those kind of ones. But that's what I think. But yeah, I would like to see Povetkin versus Usyk. Ustinov. Ustinov. You see, Ustinov used to be a good fighter. He used to be a really good fighter. But since he's lost to Kubrat Pulev, he's just gone downhill from there. He really has. But I mean, I do like Ustinov. I do like him, but I just think he's too old now. He's far too old. Usyk will expose a lot of heavyweights. Yeah, he will. Liam Hardy, Spence versus Crawford. Well, Spence don't seem to want any kind of smoke with Crawford. I don't know why. You see, Spence has been disappointing me with the way he seemed openly ducking Crawford. And I don't like to see that because I've always rated Spence, and I'd probably pick Spence to beat him, to be fair. But I don't know. It just seems to me he don't want Terence Crawford. He's coming up with all the excuses about being on the wrong side of the street, all that kind of thing. So yeah, Mayweather versus Eddie Hearn exhibition bout. yeah, yeah. I think Mayweather will beat him. Povetkin versus Miller. Be a very good one. Very good one. And that's the kind of fight that I think Eddie Hearn would like to make. But it seems that he wants to keep the American fighters on American soil and the British fighters on British soil. And I think he sees Povetkin as a UK based fighter now. So I don't see Miller versus Povetkin happening anytime soon. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing, say, Ortiz versus Takam. I wouldn't mind seeing that one. I hope Mikey somehow gets a win over Spence. It'll be funny. I would laugh because that's another cherry pick gone wrong. Because the PBC fanboys have had a real terrible end of year, haven't they? With Jamel Charlo losing his title, with Deontay Wilder getting exposed by a guy who shouldn't have been in the ring with him yet. It just hasn't been a good look for him whatsoever. And if Spence loses to a 130, 135 pound fighter, that's not a good look. That is not a good look. It's not a good start for 2018 for them. It really isn't. How many matchroom pay-per-views you pay for? Oh, all of them. All of them. Well, look, if you believe the rumours, I'll get them all for free. But I don't. Of course, I pay for all of them. Eddie Hearn versus Lou DiBella. Yeah, I think Eddie Hearn will smash him straight up. Crawford versus Khan. Interesting fight. I think Khan causes a lot of problems in the first half of the fight, but then I think Crawford eventually gets to him. But Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce. That won't happen, Andrew. Won't happen. I think, and I understand why Daniel Dubois has been moved along the way he is, and it's good because one of the things that I was worried about was that Frank Warren was so desperate to overtake Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, which is why he took Daniel Dubois out of the amateur system way too early. I was worried he's going to be pushed too fast. And he hasn't done that, so I can't complain. But at the same time, I don't see Dubois fighting anybody of any kind of real note domestically, at least for another year or two. So, Usyk versus Vladimir. Well, apparently these guys have been sparring quite a lot. So, yeah, been an interesting one, hasn't it? Dubois protected, yeah, he is. But I think rightfully so in some ways. But at the same time, I'd like to see Dubois versus Gorman. but they just don't want to have it. You know what it is? Triple D couldn't stop Johnson. Yeah, yeah, that's right. For me, I mean, I was glad that he got a few rounds under his belt and he didn't really gas out. But I do feel that he should have got the stoppage a little bit later. Rob is in the chat. What is up? I just missed what you said there, but hello, welcome. Slapnuts, what's up? Callum Smith versus Canelo. I think Callum's gonna be too big for him. Truthfully, I think he's gonna be too big for him. I think Canelo. He took on Rocky Fielding because, let's be real, I'm a British fanboy, of course, but Brits don't travel well. And I knew as soon as that fight was announced and where it's going to happen in America, I knew Rocky Fielding was going to fold. I knew it. I just knew it. But with Callum Smith, he's a different animal. So, yeah. Have you heard about these fighters saying he's similar to Mike Tyson? He's that good. Sorry, who's that you're talking about? Captain Rose, what is up? I said Ritson. Right, right. So yeah, Lewis Ritson, he's going to be fighting on March 23rd, I believe. Obviously here in Newcastle. I don't know whether or not he'll be the headliner. Maybe a Josh Kelly might be against Avanesian, potentially anyway. I don't know. I feel that Lewis Ritson has got so much to give. I know he got ordered a fight recently to defend his British, but I think he's already defended it enough times. He needs to move on. He should rematch that guy he lost to, which I've forgotten his name now. But Rotem, Deontay Wilder is the best heavyweight. Come on, bro, you can't spell his name right. What's going on? um, Ritson hype train got derailed. Well, I don't think he ever really had a hype. But I mean, I like Lewis Ritson. Obviously, he's in my home city of Newcastle, but I do feel though that Lewis Ritson is like he's got so much more to give. He really does, and he's in a very very good division as well. So yeah, I do feel that he needs to hopefully rematch the last guy, which for whatever reason, Patera, that's his name, Patera. Um, what's your favorite program or movie you watched over Christmas? Well, my son and my wife, every Christmas, they always put on Home Alone. So probably that one, to be fair. Although I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so put Star Wars on over Christmas, I'm sat there watching them, even though I've watched them 100 times. Cheeseman versus Fowler. Yeah. Cheeseman, I think at this stage. But listen, I know Eddie Hearn wants to make that fight. I know Cheeseman wants to fight. I know Fowler wants to fight. But I do feel that Eddie Hearn's putting his fighters together too early, as in too many of them, if that makes sense. You know, with Chamberlain and Coley, and it's just going on and on and on. And too many of his fighters are going to be losing their O's and potentially even ruining their career, because we're in the era now where a loss is affecting a fighter's resume as far as the fans go. So happy New Year, Mark. Happy New Year, brother. Home Alone is a great Christmas film. It is. Well, I like that Joe Pesci. I like him. Creed 2. Yeah, I think that's a Creed 2. Is it as good as the first one? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I don't know. I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of Creed, to be honest. I didn't like the fact that this estranged son from Apollo Creed, so he's cheating on his wife. I didn't like that whole storyline. So I'm not a massive Creed fan. I just prefer the Rocky ones. I mean, I grew up on Rocky, you know. Josh Kelly versus Lewis Ritson. How weird are lads? Yeah. Well, they'll have to do it at a catchway, wouldn't they? They'll have to do it. Although I think that Lewis Ritson, so he's what, 135. Um, Josh Kelly's 147. Yes, maybe me at 140. Why not? Why not? Be a great one. Macaulay Culkin versus Mayweather. Yeah, I've got Macaulay Culkin on that one, especially if he's still on the gear. Kevin McLeod, what's up? I watched Bugsy Malone. Hey, Captain Rose. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, that kiddie musical one. Yeah. Although to be fair, some pretty catchy songs in that one. I think that light heavyweight is currently the most promising. Yes, yes, good call, good call. You see, Joshua Boazzi, you've got Callum Johnson in that as well. Of course, we're talking UK. Got Dan Aziz looking very good. Jake Bull. You got Craig Spider Richards. You got Anthony Yard. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, even with Frank Buglioni retiring, it's a real stacking division where we've got so much potential here that could go on and achieve great, great things. I mean, maybe even throw in Ricky Summers with that lot as well. Yeah. Uh, Tony Bellew made the Creed movie. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't too sold on Tony Bellew's performance. Well, nothing wrong with his performance. I wasn't too sure of the character, to be honest. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I like Tony Bellew, but I wouldn't be encouraging him to do any kind of those kind of movies again. Do you think Lewis Ritson should go back to domestic level? Hmm. I think he probably will. Oh, Andy Townend, that's who it is that he's been ordered to fight, isn't it? I think Andy Townend, wasn't he supposed to fight, or he did fight um, Asif? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I think that that loss hopefully isn't going to affect him. Actually, I do need to get hold of Dave, um, Lewis Ritson's dad, and pop down to his gym and have like a little chat with Lewis. Like have like a little catch up with him. Yard's going to be the future. Could well be. And I hope so. Why not? You see, I give Anthony Yard a lot of stick purely because of the avoidance of domestic level. I don't know why he doesn't want to fight Jose Burton and all these kind of guys. You know, he talks about lions in the camp, but I don't know who's he fighting. So, why is White your favorite heavyweight? Well, I was very, very impressed with him even before he fought Joshua, and then the whole Joshua build-up just impressed me with Dillian Whyte. I know he come across as the bad guy in that one, but that was deliberate. You know, it would help sell the fight. Obviously, the more money it does on pay-per-view, the more money he gets paid, and his name gets put out there. And not only that, since that loss. Okay, so he was injured and he hurt his shoulder in that fight. I'm not going to say that you know, he would have beaten AJ anyway. I don't know, but ultimately he did lose. But the way that he's come back is absolutely phenomenal, and for the fact that he was the only person within boxing that kind of like give me a bit of a bunk up, I suppose, because for the first what 3 4 months, I was probably getting what 200 subscribers, 300 if that. So I was really struggling. And then like a Dylan White, he like came along and you know gave me a shout out. He come onto my channel, had a chat with me, that kind of thing. And then things kind of just spiraled from then on. And with Dylan, I chat with him quite regularly. I spoke with him briefly again tonight. But yeah, I mean that's why like a Dylan's like my favorite fighter because I feel that what he's done since the Anthony Joshua loss, the way that he carries himself, the way that he's not afraid to fight anybody. You know that's why you know I love Dillian Whyte. He is my guy. And it doesn't matter. Um, you guys know I'm a massive, massive fan of Anthony Joshua. I'm a massive fan of Tyson Fury equally. But you put them in with Dillian Whyte. Part of me doesn't want to see the fights because I don't want any of them to take a loss. But I am going to be hoping that Dillian Whyte wins for that one fight only. So, um, who was your first interview? My first interview was Dillian Whyte. Yeah, Dillian Whyte was my first interview. Then it was, oh God, who was it? Oh, Ian Lewison. Then Trent Broadhurst. A lot of you guys will remember Trent Broadhurst. This was right before he took on Dimitri Bivol in the Monte Carlo headliner. So Trent Broadhurst was then. Then it was Dave Allen. Then I think maybe Dillian Whyte came back on again. No, there's been a few, hasn't there? Why don't you chat with Joshua? Right, with Joshua, you see his management. You know, I shouldn't even say this really. I shouldn't even say it, but yeah, you know what? Screw it. Right, their management team. See, I was speaking with his management team, and they were all up for it. So yeah, no problem. We'll get Joshua in and whatever. And then when it come round to like a bit closer, I said, okay, so what about like now I'm free today or tomorrow or something? Oh, sorry, Josh was in Dubai. Like, right, okay. So they've got phones in Dubai, don't they? He's got WhatsApp or a friend's WhatsApp or whatever. Yeah, we'll let you know when he comes back from Dubai. And then he comes back. They don't tell me anything about it. And then suddenly, oh, sorry, he's in camp or he's not doing any media this week. He's not doing that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to chase you for it. Ultimately, it's not that important. So I kind of give up with Anthony Joshua. I could get him on the channel, to be honest. So, but yeah, I mean, I've got so many contacts with fighters, so many. It's always finding time because with a boxer, they're always very, very busy. You know, they get on to, you know, they're in camp, so they only have like a couple of hours during the day when you can get hold of them, and then I've got to be free within that time as well as. And sometimes that you know they just want to sleep, they want to spend that time eating or spend time with their family or whatever. And as I do as well, obviously because my sick son, so it's very difficult to get some of these guys. So yeah, I mean, I've got so many fights, unbelievable. I've got so many that I need to get cracking with. I really do. And I made a bit of an effort in 2018, but I could have done more. And I do plan on doing a whole lot more in 2019. You know, um, could Tyson get badly under AJ's skin? Um, I think if anybody can, yes, Tyson can, because there's real needle between Tyson and AJ. They don't like each other whatsoever. When you see Anthony Joshua's face talking about Tyson Fury, you can see that he's got no real respect for him either. So yeah, and a lot of that is because Tyson Fury trashes him every time Joshua fights. It's like Tyson wants Joshua to lose. So this is what it is. But I think that Dillian Whyte is the arch enemy for Anthony Joshua. He brings the best out of Joshua. He's the one who gets under his skin. These guys don't like each other. They just don't. Uh, AJ is so easy to upset. I don't know if it's easy to upset. It's just certain people. It's frustrating for him because you get fighters like like Wilder who will call him out for like a long time, but yet only ever seem to call him out when Joshua's already got an opponent. Like Pulev was already signed up. Wilder then starts calling him out. When Joshua doesn't have a fight, he goes quiet. So he tries to negotiate 50-50 or no fight. He's going, oh, okay, fine. I'm going to waste your time. There's another guy out there with a belt. I need all of them. So Parker. He signs with Parker. Then suddenly Wilder starts hyping up again. So when it comes round to it and these guys are free to negotiate, Wilder just plays difficult. He plays hardball. So I think that Joshua is just one of these kind of guys that says, listen, I ain't going to mess about with you no more. But unfortunately, he needs Wilder because he's got the WBC belt. If Wilder didn't have a WBC belt, would Joshua still want Wilder? Maybe. I think Joshua just wants to punch his face in. Fury, yeah, you see, Tyson Fury, he's one of these guys. Again, it will depend on what kind of Tyson Fury turns up. If Joshua versus Fury gets made, I think we'll see the best Tyson Fury that there possibly could be because he will be really, really motivated for Joshua because he wants to defeat Anthony Joshua. He really does. So yeah, I think the version of Tyson Fury you've seen against Wilder, that's not the best version at all, not even close to it. But in a rematch against Wilder, I think Tyson Fury will be a lot more sharper. I'm not saying that Wilder can't knock him out. I'm saying that it will be a hell of a lot more difficult than what Wilder found at the first time, and it'll be a clear points win for Fury. But against Anthony Joshua, he will move up an extra gear that he doesn't even think that he has right now. So, Nesta Fibs. Muhammad Ali versus Tyson Fury. Well, I think Tyson Fury is just too big, isn't he? But I mean, I've only ever seen half a dozen Muhammad Ali fights. I've never really watched too many fights. I mean, I've seen highlights, of course, like plenty of them. But I know more about his life than what he done in the ring, if that makes sense. So I can't really say. People say Muhammad Ali is the greatest of all time. Of what I've seen, I can understand why, because he paved the way for so many boxers, and within his era, he was the best of the best, right? But in today's game, would Muhammad Ali get on? I think he'd probably be a bit too small. But Anyway, I have to wait and see. Spoiling, Ian Lewison was a tough interview. He was really hard. Yeah, man. Ian Lewison would talk about himself as a third person. So that was like a wake up call for me with Ian Lewison. Said to Ian, says like, "How are you?" And he went, "Yeah, Ian's fine." I'm like, "What? So what? What are you talking about?" And I know. He was difficult. He was difficult, bro. Um, is Floyd the best ever for smaller weight? Sure. Why not? Why not? Um, Listen, undefeated, and he's got a very stacked resume. He did cherry pick a lot along the way before he started stepping up. But when he did step up, he got the business done. But see, Floyd was always one of these guys. He knew when to fight certain fighters and where to fight them, and he knew the game. And to finish off his career, did he take on the best? Not really. I mean, you could say, well, he did beat Canelo, but at the same time, he knew Canelo was a novice at that point. Put Canelo in there with Floyd today, I think you see a totally different side. But and listen, I don't know. I mean, I have no dislike towards Floyd. I've got no love for Floyd either. I've got nothing really. I think he's a great fighter. He's done a lot for the business. I think he's harmed the business a lot as well, and in the sense of he's made things too difficult. Everybody wants to be the A side, which is why people now, the fans, look on the zero as important. So taking a loss, suddenly you take one loss, doesn't matter how you lost, you're then thrown on the trash heap because of the whole Floyd Mayweather thing. So, I mean, you see, I remember as a kid watching like Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno and Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. These fighters were taking losses, and it was okay because then you look forward to the rematch and see how they bounce back. But nowadays, it's a case of somebody takes a loss, then they're just thrown on the scrap heap. Do you know what I mean? White versus Parker too. Yeah, why not? Why not? But I do feel if Parker loses again, I think that's going to be a tough road back. I think Parker needs to avoid Dillian Whyte right now, which is why I'm saying that he should fight Lucas Brown. It's a win he should get, but I don't know. Do you think promoters' egos are ruining boxing? To a point, yes. Yes, to a point. You see, people say I'm a big Eddie Hearn fanboy. I'm not. I'm just a British fanboy. Just that Matchroom put on like a lot of the shows that I like. But yeah, certainly, I think that promoters today are becoming more like celebrities rather than their job, if that makes sense. Their job is to promote a fight, not necessarily to promote themselves. But it's the era that we live in. We have to change with the time. So some promoters do ruin boxers, that's for sure. I think it's more the managers, kind of the ones that you don't really see and the ones that you shouldn't see, like Shelly Finkel. The Klitschko brothers were notorious. I've said this before. The Klitschko brothers were notorious to deal with contracts because Shelly Finkel was managing them, along with Bert Monty, of course. So it's no coincidence that Deontay Wilder is difficult to deal with because Shelly Finkel was also there. You take Shelly Finkel out of the equation, I think the fight gets made, to be real. Who wins the Super Series? The knockout doctor for me. So at cruiserweight, I believe. Listen, I think that Brady's got an absolute steal in the last one. I don't think that was the right one. I think Andrew Tabiti could hopefully win that one. At 140, I'm hoping Josh Taylor. Yeah. And I was picking Ryan Burnett for the other one. Obviously, you can't plan for injuries. So Nonito Donaire potentially, but I think maybe Inoue. So yeah. My favorite fight bad guy. Yours is Prince Nassim versus Kevin Kelly, sure. Yeah. My favorite fight is probably Lennox Lewis versus Vitaly Klitschko, to be honest. I think that's probably one of them. I still enjoy watching Frank Bruno versus Oliver McCall, purely for nostalgia reasons, because I was just so happy that he finally got a world title. Tabiti not winning Jack. Oh no, you're thinking of no. See, Andrew Tabiti, he's in with the World Super Series. Badu Jack, he's taken on that other American lad. I can't remember his name. He's fighting him soon on somebody's undercard, which shouldn't be an undercard fight. Oh man, his name's gone. Anthony Sims Jr. Like him a lot. He's got the talk. He's walking the walk. Again, throw him in with the likes of Anthony Yard. throw him in there with the likes of Boadzi and so on. And I think he may come out fighting. Really, I think I like him a lot. I like Anthony Sims Jr. Really, really like him. Marcus Brown, well done. PSK 10. Yeah, yeah. Marcus Brown is what, 20-0? No, sorry, 22-0, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. He's one taken on Jack, not Tabiti. Thoughts on Olympic boxing being in danger? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think the Olympic Games. I understand why. I think that they are um, too much corruption with the judges, too much backhanded money, all that kind of thing. So I don't blame them for pulling it out. But at the same time, the Olympics isn't the Olympics anymore, is it? I mean, you don't have the original ones in there. You don't have like the world's strongest man. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the world's strongest man should be part of the Olympics, shouldn't it? Surely, as that's how it was all started way back in Athens and that. So yeah, and the heavyweight to end as the best of this era, that's a real tough one. For me, and again, call me biased, between Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. That's what I see it as right now. But there could be an unknown right now. Who knows? I mean, so many fighters who could come back, right on your screen. Maybe Parker could come back. Maybe Deontay Wilder could prove to be the real deal. Maybe 2018, where we're thinking that he got exposed at times against Luis Ortiz and certainly against Tyson Fury. Maybe 2019, 2020, Wilder becomes the real deal. Maybe he learns from these fights. So you don't know. There's so many fighters out there right now, but I suppose leading the pack, I suppose you have to say Anthony Joshua, really. But I don't know. Good question, though. Good. Darts should be on the Olympics. Probably is, to be fair. I don't know. I mean, for me, they put on. I mean, shooting, like the old rifle, it's not really a sport, is it? I mean, for me, sport is endurance, right? It's skill, it's endurance. That's what it is. So, like the running, the hurdling, the javelin, all that kind of thing. So, but shooting, you need a steady hand and a good eye. That's all you need. And curling, what's that about? Does anyone think Josh Kelly's power will carry into the Elite Fights 147? I think we're yet to see the best of Josh Kelly, obviously. I think the more he moves up, the better Josh Kelly we will see. I really do. I really do. If Fury was priced, he'd still be asleep. He did get hit hard, didn't he? Although, if you watch back that 12th round when Tyson Fury got dropped by Wilder, you can see that when he got hit by the right hand, it's like he went out instantly. And I don't know why. I mean, and I could be wrong, but Wilder followed up with a left hook as he was going down. It's like a free shot. And a lot of people went, oh, Tyson Fury should definitely have been down after that one. But is it possible that that left hook as he was going down woke up Tyson Fury? Kind of like brought him back out a bit? I don't know. Josh Kelly would lose to Yalusinov again. Well, we lost him to him in the outros, of course, but I don't know. I think Yalusinov, I was pretty hyped about him, to be honest. And as a pro, listen, he's been getting the wins and he's been doing well. He's been dominating. I don't think he's lost a single round, Jersey, but he doesn't seem to have that power. So I've been a little bit flatlined with Yalusinov so far, but I still rate him. I still think he's a good fighter, but I think that Josh Kelly right now beats him. But hey, listen, I'd like to see it. Ronnie O'Sullivan is a genius. Yeah, yeah, he is. That is for sure. Jonathan, what's up, bro? The pro game is totally different. Absolutely agree. Oh, the comments are coming pretty fast. Peter Ustinov. Don't know who Peter Ustinov is. I know Alexander Ustinov. Don't know Peter Ustinov. Is he a coach? Is he? Oh, Peter O'Sullivan. Fury's on the floor looking at the ref. Yeah, exactly. It was. It was. He wasn't out. If he was out, then you know he's out because his damn eyes will be closed, and and he wouldn't be getting up. So nobody gets knocked out for like a couple of seconds. It doesn't happen. You're either out or you're not. Mm. AJ versus Fury 2009. Yeah, I think so because you see the triangle right now is Joshua, Fury, and Wilder. Personally, I would throw in Dillian Whyte in there as well, and others. But I think that just those three, it's always going to be a case of if Joshua fights Wilder, defeats Wilder, there's still going to be people saying, "But you haven't beaten Tyson Fury, so therefore you're still not the best." Because Tyson Fury is undefeated, he never lost his titles, and he's linear, right? So there's that one. If Anthony Joshua fought and beat Tyson Fury, then people still say, well, you haven't been the WBC champion in Deontay Wilder yet, so you're still not the best. So yeah, these guys need to, in some ways, maybe Wilder versus Fury needs to happen again, just to get it down. But there again, even then, you see, I say, for example, Wilder versus Fury rematch happens, Tyson Fury beats him. There's still going to be a whole lot of people saying, well, that means Wilder's the second best heavyweight on the planet, and he's still better than Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua's ducking. It's always going to go on, which is why Joshua needs to fight Wilder and Fury. So Lee White feels a bit lost now. It's 2019, yeah. Unfortunately, Fury is feather fisted. Yeah. Well, I mean, Fury hits hard. He just doesn't commit himself on fight night because he's worried about the counter, which is a smart thing to do. I mean, he used to knock people out. He just doesn't anymore. Selby versus Ricky Burns would be interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah, exactly. People still talk about the ref's count. I mean, listen, it's a moot point. He got up. But even then, at this stage of Tyson Fury's comeback, he should never have been in the 12th round. Wilder should have got rid of him 5, 6 rounds before that. So as long as AJ don't go to the USA to fight Deontay, well, if AJ does, then he's got to knock him out, hasn't he? That's the only way he's going to defeat Wilder. And what's Joshua like traveling? I mean, is he going to be another Brit who don't like traveling? Do you know what I mean? As in, I mean, you've got like Tyson Fury, you've got like Joe Calzaghe, you've got like James DeGale, Amir Khan. These people can travel on the road and act like they're at home. Can Joshua do that? It's difficult to say. If I wear my Sporting Icons t-shirt with my Sporting Icons phone cover in Alabama, how long do I live? Probably about 1.5 minutes at best. White destroys Wilder. I agree, Bob. White is awesome. I agree, Patel. Totally. One of Fury's problems is he showboats too much. Yeah, definitely agree with that one. I do feel that had Tyson Fury had taken it serious, he would have avoided that big right hand in the 12th. He would have not been clipped in round number was it number 9, wasn't it? So, and then this whole knockdown thing and 2 knockdowns wins a fight for Wilder, which is crazy. Just wouldn't even be a subject, would it? So either way, Wilder got exposed in that fight, and he did. But the question is, can he bounce back? So Fury used a 10 count to his advantage. I agree. Jaffa, what's up? What's your thought on the WBC? My thoughts on the WBC is that they are corrupt. That's my thoughts on the WBC. White is the most realist heavyweight. Totally agree. Wilder will never fight Joshua because there'll never be a 50-50 split. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I mean, Joshua's going around collecting all belts, been making the name, been bringing the eyes and resurrected heavyweight to a lot of fans. And Wilder does what? And demands 50%. Don't work that way, does it? Smash the like button. Yeah, definitely would agree. Smash the like button. Um, do a poll. Yeah, I've actually seen some people do some polls about that before, to be honest. Yeah. Oi, oi, Grievous, what's up? Fury showboating is part of his tactics. Can't really take away from his game. Yeah, the thing is though, is that there's a point to do it. Then it's a case of doing it too much. I mean, he spent too much time with his hands down by his side and all up in the air in that fight, rather than just getting on with the damn job. Because I think he was doing it that much. I think the judges were getting annoyed by it. So Wilder's ego's taken a big slap. It has. It has. But as I said, you see, I mean, maybe he can bounce back in 2019. Maybe. Maybe. We don't know. Or 2020. Or maybe this fight against Fury has humbled him. I mean, it doesn't sound like it has, but hopefully it has. Or a loss. Listen, sometimes a loss is good. And if Wilder gets sparked out by Fury or Dillian Whyte or Anthony Joshua, it'll humble him enough so he doesn't keep talking about himself as he's being possessed by ancestry spirits and the god Sophia is talking to him. And, do you know what I mean? He needs to get back in with reality and he needs to be humbled. That's why he needs to lose. And I think it will humble him enough to come back and become what a lot of people think that he can become, which is a great heavyweight. Because right now he's got too much baggage, too much padded record. People just don't like it. Why wasn't Tyson Fury signed up to anti-doping for the Wild fight? No, he was. He was. It's a WBC fight, so he had to be. The fight for the title couldn't happen unless he was signed up. So yeah, he did sign up. Stephen King, what's up? Alpha Omega, what's up? Wilder should fight White. Totally agree. Totally agree. Brazil beats Wilder. White beats Brazil. Yep. Why not? The thing is with Dominic Brazil, he's slow as a donkey. He really is very slow. But boy, does he hit like a damn donkey kicks. He really does. So if he hits Wilder, it's good night. But I think Wilder's too mobile. And I think Dominic Brazil, he's one of these kind of fighters where he's quite happy to block punches with his face. And so what you like about Wilder, his lack of skill, his lack of his intelligence in the ring, all that kind of thing. Listen, it's the wrong person to be defending punches with your face against. It's Deontay Wilder because he will put you out cold. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I think Wilder will clean the clock of Brazil. But if Brazil lands one on him, he hits hard enough that Wilder will go down and won't get up again. So Jolly GT, what's up? Um, Eddie has to be trying to make White versus Wilder. Well, Wilder just doesn't want to be in the same room as Eddie Hearn, which is what I think he's digging his heels in with Anthony Joshua. I mean, he's already turned down Dillian Whyte. He turned down 5 million guarantee against Terry Chisora and that as well. So Bobby Six Moore, what is up? Bobby Moore, the TBE of defenders. What is up? Yep. Yeah, once in a blue moon, I'll do the podcast. Just once in a blue moon. I think Wilder will lose his belt before he decides to fight Joshua. Very good chance of it. Because the war's closed in now, you see. For a long time, people say, why is it that you jump up and down about Wilder? Well, if you think about it, so I started my channel 2 years ago. And from the get-go, I was saying Wilder needs to step up. He needs to prove it. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. Because he just wasn't doing it. Other channels, there was a few channels doing it, but not that many. And in fact, not many channels were talking about him. So me and then others, we all started just kind of like getting on his back. And suddenly, guess what? He's stepping up. So without people having a go at him and calling him bum squad and this, that, and the other, he just wasn't being encouraged to stand up and move on. So now he's doing it, kind of. So hopefully 2019, he continues to do so. But yeah, I do feel 2019, he will lose that title. Honestly, I believe he will lose that title. If he fights 2 more times, 2019, one of those 2 fights he will lose, whether it be Brazil, Fury, Joshua, White. He will lose to one of them. He can't beat 2 of those on a try. He can't do it. Or maybe he can, who knows? Wilder, always talking about, yeah, see, Wilder was at the Brazil fight, wasn't he? So, for the Charlos. Fury will duck Wilder. I don't know about that. Wilder has shrunk since being undervalued. I did notice that, and I was going to do a video on it a few months ago. After the Luis Ortiz fight, because I was noticing that since he became champion, his weight is dropping. I thought, nah. If I start calling him a bloody drug cheat and this and the other, you know what the Wilder fans are like. You know what they're like. I thought, you know what, I'll pick on them enough. I ain't going to do that. But then, of course, when he come in so light against Tyson Fury, man, something ain't right, is it? Something ain't right. What's up, Danny? What is up, brother? Yeah. Well, one good thing though, you see, 2018 didn't end well for the PBC lovers. As I said, with Jamel Charlo losing the belt, Wilder got exposed on two fights there, and also there's no more talk about 51-0 Wilder breaking not only Marciano's record but Floyd's record. No, it can't happen. He's got a draw on his record, so that's a real kick in the plums for them, isn't it? A real kick in the plums. So Wilder's already. I promised my fans, I love my fans. 51-0. Not anymore, son. Not anymore. Skater, he's getting down to cruiserweight so he can suck everyone now he's moving up. Yeah, yeah, probably. But again, I mean, is Wilder jealous of his own brother Marcellus? Because he's at cruiserweight, and Wilder never mentioned about cruiserweight before, did he? I mean, for me, let Marcellus have a bit of shine. In fact, encourage people to like Marcellus. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Marcellus. I think the way that he handled the whole Brazil situation and how every time Wilder has a press conference, Marcellus Wilder is there jumping up and down like a headless chicken. Just annoying, man. Somebody needs to bang Marcellus Wilder in the mouth and bring on the gimp for Marcellus. Will Eddie Hearn let Demetrius Andrade fight Billy Joe Saunders 2019? Yeah, of course, of course. Listen, I don't buy into the whole. He convinced the WBO to strip Billy Joe Saunders. He didn't do that. If you think about it, and I've been saying it for a long time, Frank Warren and Bob Arum have great relationships with the WBO. If you notice, all their fighters are all WBO. Have you noticed that? So they are more likely to side with a Frank Warren fighter such as Billy Joe Saunders than they are with Eddie Hearn, who has no real love or anything with the WBO. So yeah, there's no corruption there whatsoever. It's just one of those things that happened. Listen, had Billy Joe not have used that nasal spray, nothing would have been in his system, right? It's as simple as that. And I'm a huge Billy Joe Saunders fan. So who's my favorite boxer right now? Dillian Whyte sounds. Dillian Whyte. Ben Dawson said Fury will duck Wilder. Is that his exact words? Is that Tyson Fury is going to duck Deontay Wilder? No, what he said was Wilder and Joshua need to fight. That's what he said. No prospects will sign up to an off-TV stream like DAZN. You mean like Anthony Sims Jr.? You mean like him? Or Hernandez? Huh? Or White Chocolate, Nikita Albabi? Or Nicole C. Solomon? You mean no prospects like them? Okay. Slap nuts. If Warren is bankrupt, as news suggests, Saunders will end up with her anyway. Well, I mean, the thing is with Frank Warren is that he's always got a bankroll at somewhere. You know, there's always someone somewhere willing to fund him. So he'll never be in that kind of situation. I wouldn't have thought. I think he's just going through a few tough times because a lot of his shows got cancelled 2017 and 18. So hopefully 2019 Frank Warren has a better year, and I genuinely mean that. I want Frank Warren to put on the good shows. That's what I want. But is it going to happen? Time will tell. Do you think White Chisora fight Dylan was winning? Um, yeah, I mean, I had Dylan up by was it a round? I think I had him up by, or maybe two. I've forgotten now. But yeah, the last two rounds, round 11, round number 12, were really the deciders. So I can't argue too much with people saying that Chisora was winning. Can't argue, but ultimately, Dillian played the game that not many people think he could do, which is the patient one and wait for the opportunity. And he struck and put out Derek Chisora cold and become only the second person to legitimately knock out uh, um, Derek Chisora. What kind of future does DAZN have? Um, Very good one because they have very deep pockets, so they can make the future that they want. And with Matchroom and Golden Boy on the platform, how are they really going to fail at $10 a month? Listen, if DAZN was here in the UK, a boxing platform, well, a sports platform like that, at only $10 a month, sign me up. And practically every sports fan in the UK and boxing fan in the UK will be signing up. $10 a month? Come on now. But people in America, they're not used to it. They see it as nobody wants an app. But listen, look at how things were 10 years ago. What apps did you know? YouTube wasn't even around then. But now everybody's got YouTube. Everybody's got Netflix and all these kind of things. So all of these are internet based. So would it be unreasonable to say in the next 5, 10 years that terrestrial TV just won't be really around anymore? Everything will be online app. Everybody will be watching TV shows streamed through their phone or their iPad direct to their TV. So DAZN is the way forward. It really is. And with the ESPN app as well. So things like Showtime, Sky Sports, unless they start doing their own app where people pay like $10 a month, then these guys are going to be out of business straight up. Get James Held on the line for an interview. Has anybody heard from James? I don't know if anybody has. I know some of the rumours. I don't know if they're true or don't know. DAZN in the UK would have 3 million plus. Yeah, exactly, Umar. Exactly. Isn't Held locked up? Well, that's one of the rumours, so I don't know. Are mandatories made to travel? No, no, they're not. So okay, so for mandatory, so right, say for example, Deontay Wilder, but no, that's just a bad example because they're both American. Okay, so with Anthony Joshua and his last one, Alexander Povetkin, mandatory. Had they not agreed and accepted everything for like Povetkin to travel to the UK, accept the money and all this kind of thing, and it went to a purse bid because eventually a purse bid would have been ordered if they couldn't agree. If Povetkin won the purse bid, then he chooses where the fight happens, when the fight happens, that kind of thing. So, yeah, if the mandatory wins the purse bid, then yes, they can have the fight wherever it is that they choose. It's not always the champion's prerogative. Why did White fight on Showtime? Right, again, because DAZN, they own all Matchroom shows that are not pay per view. So 16 shows that are not pay per view. The 4 shows, 5 shows potentially that Matchroom put on per year are not part of DAZN, but DAZN have first refusal on them. But they have to pay extra for them, and they didn't want to do it. Well, they wanted White versus Chisora, but they felt that that fight in America wouldn't do good numbers. It wouldn't draw in any kind of crowd. So they thought, well, rather than spend money on it, we're going to pass on this one, which is why Showtime came in for it. And I have no idea what the numbers were like for Showtime for Chisora and White. I wouldn't imagine that that'd be that high, because especially with the time zone, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. White chased Wilder belt after losing to AJ. He was number 2 in mandatory for 2 years. WBC is correct. Absolutely, Joe. It was pimped to Showtime. Yeah. Who's he going to get sparked out? It's a risky move, isn't it? It's a risky one for him, but it's a risk worth taking. It really is. I mean, he's already proved he's the best at cruiserweight by a landslide. So him moving up to heavyweight, he should have the speed. That's for sure. And against people like, say, Joshua and Wilder, Tyson Fury, these guys don't like fighting shorter guys. Usyk's not as small as what people may think, but he's certainly one of the shorter guys. And these guys don't like fighting that kind of style. I mean, you could see when Joshua fought Takam, he wasn't having all his own way like he did with Brazil, like he did with Charles Martin there. When Joshua fought, so it's Takam, Povetkin, again, he was getting tagged. And against Joseph Parker as well, he wasn't having all his own way. So Joshua prefers big guys. So you put him in there against an Usyk, he's gonna have problems for a while. He really is. And the same with Wilder as well, and Tyson Fury. I mean, Tyson Fury got chinned by Steve Cunningham, a cruiserweight. So yeah. Good evening, AK. What's up? America have NABV belts. They do. Yep. And the Naboo. See, I always thought that Naboo was part of Star Wars. Wasn't that like is it a city or is it a planet in Star Wars? I don't know. What are your thoughts on Frank 150 for Joshua Fury? Yeah, it won't happen. 50-50 ain't going to happen. When is Matchroom's next show sporting Hearns Jr.? Their next one is soon, actually. They've got a fight in America with Demetrius Andrade and Arthur Akavov. And then they have one on February 2nd for Ted Cheeseman versus Sergio Garcia. And have another one in March, the 23rd. So, and I think there's actually an Italian show in between then and maybe a Germany show as well. So, what Guan, Kenny Marshall, was up? Prince Nassim Hamid versus Wilder. Man, Prince Nassim sparks Wilder out all day, every day. Is this a weekly event or more than just one per week spot? It's kind of just one of those things that whenever I can find time, that's kind of like when I do them. I don't often get like a lot of time lately to do a live stream. So, I mean, I like doing this like a live stream. It's so much easier than me just doing the video. With the video, I record it on my iPhone. I then upload the audio into my computer. The program you're seeing on the screen right now with the images, that's what I use. I add the audio. I then have to cut it, edit it, all that kind of thing. And it takes a damn long time. So a live stream is actually easier for me to do. But you see, if I do a live stream for a specific subject, the subject doesn't last very long and we end up talking about everything else. So, well, make more time. Yeah. Well, the thing is, the kind of times that I can do it, I don't think you guys will be available. So, yeah. AJ versus White over Ortiz. Totally agree, Jolly. Usyk needs to put on some weight to beat AJ White. I agree. Frank Warren, Joshua's 50-50, but couldn't get 50. Yeah, exactly. You see, that's kind of like one of my things as well, which is what I said in the previous video with Ben Davison saying that Tyson Fury should get 50-50. I mean, I can kind of see why, because he is a big draw in the UK, right? But I think that, if you look at it realistically, if Wilder was guaranteed 4 million against Tyson Fury as a flat fee, and Tyson was guaranteed 3 million, that means that Wilder was the A side. So why suddenly is Tyson Fury an equal A side with AJ when Wilder wasn't even the kind of draw that Joshua is? So it just doesn't make sense to me. DAZN have no first and last over White fights. Eddie and the bid and got it owned by Showtime. And well, Eddie didn't bid on any of it because Eddie owned the show, and he doesn't bid for DAZN. DAZN have their own things. Eddie Hearn doesn't own DAZN; he works for DAZN. And again with Dillian Whyte, you see, he's now a pay-per-view fighter, so yeah, he's not officially part of DAZN. He could sign something with DAZN, of course he could, but. You see, Dillian Whyte has a fight-by-fight basis with Eddie Hearn. He's not officially signed by Matchroom for like X amount of fights or X amount of years, or whatever. It's a fight-by-fight basis. What decade did you get into boxing? Decade I got into like boxing. Right, the very first fight I seen live on TV was Barry McGuigan's very last fight. So I'm a very, very small child, and that's like my very first memory of boxing. So Barry McGuigan against Jim McDonnell. And the reason that I remember that one is because my dad, you see, we're all from like the northeast of England, okay? So, my dad's got very, very strong, broad northeast accent. Well, I haven't seen him for many years, but he did when I was a kid, and as I did as well. And it's like the very first time that I ever seen my dad get animated at a TV was when the referee for the Barry McGuigan and Jim McDonnell fight. So that's kind of why I remember it, because my dad was a huge Barry McGuigan fan, and he's going mad at the referee. And Barry McGuigan was a Frank Warren fighter, and Jim McDonnell was a Barry Hearn fighter. So that's kind of like my first introduction. But the first fight was supposed to have been Frank Bruno and Mike Tyson. But my dad woke me up to watch it, and as it was coming on, I fell asleep again. So he brought me downstairs, he put me on the sofa, and and I knew Frank Bruno, but for his pantomimes. But I knew he was a boxer, but I'd never seen him fight. And obviously, I heard about Mike Tyson. So my dad brought me down like early hours in the morning to watch Mike Tyson and Frank Bruno. But I fell asleep. I did, but then woke up just as Mike Tyson was getting rid of Frank Bruno. So technically, Frank Bruno, Mike Tyson is kind of my first introduction to it. But Barry McGuigan first. Barry McGuigan's very last fight was actually my very first exposure to boxing, I suppose. My first live fight was a streamed Hey Bellew 1. I'm only 16. Well, Matty, keep on watching boxing, bro. Keep on watching it. And as you're only 16, get yourself down the gym. Who knows? Maybe you could be the next Joshua or the next whatever. Who knows? McGuigan versus Pajada. Yeah, see, I mean, I haven't seen Barry McGuigan fight outside of that one. So, yeah, so with McDonald, with Jim McDonald. I remember watching Bruno versus Joe Bugner. Well, I mean, I've seen it after the fact, but yeah, I didn't watch it live. McGuigan was a beast. Thank you for your answer. Yeah, I remember the two Bruno. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, Bruno. You see, as a kid, I mean, I never really had like real access to like boxing. I mean, nowadays everybody's sport for choice because you've got internet. Obviously, you've got YouTube, you've got Sky Sports, where click on demand, all these kind of things. But obviously, like when I was a kid, we had teletext. Do you know what I mean? We had magazines, we had newspapers. So I had to rely on like my parents buying the Sun newspaper or the News of the World or the Mirror or something and then catch something on the back page. That's pretty much how I knew Frank Bruno was a boxer. But I predominantly knew him as a pantomime guy, and he'd go on the Des O'Connor show with like Freddie Starr and things like that. Lennox Lewis, I was just getting into Lennox Lewis at that point as well. I thought Lennox Lewis was great. But I suppose when I really started to watch boxing properly, I kind of went off it for a while because I didn't really know too many. Maybe Ricky Hatton. I remember him. Then I kind of like went off it for a little while. Then Joe Calzaghe, I kind of got into a little bit at the tail end of his career. Well, I say tail end, when he fought Chris Eubank Senior. I remember Chris Eubank Senior against Nigel Benn. I think it's the second one. But yeah, I mean that's kind of like as far back as my memory goes. But then I kind of like went off boxing for a while. I found it kind of flatlined. So like a Barry Hearn and that left. I didn't really know too much about Barry Hearn. I knew about him, but I didn't really know the kind of fights that he had in the stable. I was unaware that there was a matchroom sport and whatever. Obviously, I knew Frank Warren. He was like the guy on TV a lot. So I knew Frank Warren, Don King I heard of. But Frank Warren, he kind of like owned the monopoly on boxing for a while, and it stagnated. It's almost like he didn't make the effort anymore. So I just fell out of love with boxing. But yeah, then it's pretty much, I suppose, kind of what got me back into boxing. To be fair, was David Haye. I think it was probably David Haye kind of like got me interested. I'd watch the odd fight here and there. I'd watch like Vladimir Klitschko, yeah, like those kind of things. But yeah, I think it's more David Haye that got me back into boxing full time. Sad that I'm that old. Celtic. What age is too late to start boxing? I mean, going in a gym, I'll probably say, I mean, it depends what you want to do. I mean, if you want to become a professional boxer, I would always advise people to have an amateur career. And to have an amateur career, you've got to be of like a certain kind of age, which is why like a lot of Cubans lie. But you've got to be like a certain kind of age. So I'll probably say for fitness wise, any age. For if you want to become a pro and potentially do something, then I'll probably say no later than probably say what mid-20s latest. If you're 30, you've got an outside chance, but much more than that, no, not at all. Ideally, the younger you are, the better you are, because not only do you get fitness, you get the discipline, and always learn defense. Defense is the first one. Like so many people young lads you see going to the gym, and girls now, of course, and all they want to do is fight. Just want to throw punches rather than learn how to defend. Because if you can't defend, at some point you're going to get knocked out. Everybody's got that button, but Tyson losing to Douglas live from Tokyo was a shocker. Yeah, we see. I remember seeing some on like the back of a newspaper. I remember seeing a picture of Tyson Fury. Mike Tyson laying there on the floor, and that was like a bit of a shock for me because obviously I knew about Mike Tyson, and I remember seeing like this guy who's an absolute animal who petrified me as a small kid. To be honest, he really did. But he, there's this picture on the back of the newspaper of him out cold. I was like, damn. Lucas Brown started boxing at 32. Yeah, that's true. But Lucas Brown was in MMA for quite some time, so he already had like a pretty good background for like a fight and that kind of thing. So, what do you think of the mainstream media when it comes to stuff Wilder saying? The mainstream media, even like Sky Sports and that. I don't know. Well, it does amaze me though that Sky Sports show a lot of Deontay Wilder stuff, but yet Deontay Wilder has no interest in fighting any kind of matchroom fighter. So I don't know why they're wasting the damn effort on him. I wouldn't do it. Klitschko will beat Wilder if he comes back. I agree. Totally agree. I really got into it at the Lewis Hatton Eubank Senior Prince Nas. But yeah, exactly like a Prince Nassim as well. I'd watch the odd fight with him. Ben Kazagi. Yeah, exactly. Then AJ at the Foch Groves. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Foch Groves fight was probably one of the first ones that I'd seen in quite some time, as in from beginning to end, where I deliberately stayed in to watch it. So, Kato, what was your favourite porn mag? Uh, well, I always steal my dad's. My dad used to have like a bit of a stash under his mattress in the bedroom. I think it's called Escort or something like that. Fight Fan 30, what's up? Joe Lewis versus Rocky Marciano was the first fight I watched. What, live? Damn. What's your thoughts on Wilder to Radio Rahim? Just Wilder being a complete cock, isn't it? Overreacting to everything. The way he talks, you still think he was in the damn Jack Johnson era. It's just ridiculous. To this day, to this day. Speak it, believe it, conceive it. United States fans of boxing. Oh, sorry, I missed that bit. Oh, were you, Craig? Okay, so he was there for the second Foch Groves, yeah. I still feel the referee stopped that fight too early at the first one. Sticky pages. I don't know. I think I was a bit young for that kind of way. I was just looking, I was just curious, like, what is that? You got no willy? What's going on? Porn mags, yeah. Yeah, I think that Radio Raheem, he questioned it wrong and at the wrong time because, Wilder's in fight mode. So what you don't want to do is annoy him. And especially when you've got like his little goon boys at the back of him. But yeah, I think that Radio Raheem, he, whatever his real name is, I have no idea. I'm presuming his real name isn't Radio, right? But yeah, the thing is, people don't like him over in America. They don't like him. They call him a coon, things like that. I think it's all ridiculous, to be honest. But well, to be fair, Steve is the worst heavyweight champion of all time. Well, to be fair, he only had one defense, and that was against Wilder, and he lost it. So, but I think defending champion, I think Wilder's got to be up there till this day. Radio Raheem is flaky. Yeah. You see, he's just wants to be professional, doesn't he? He's got sponsors and all that kind of thing, so he's got to be professional, which is why people say to me, why is it that you're not professional? Why is it that you give an opinion? Why is it that you do this? I mean, first of all, because I want to, but second of all, I'm not sponsored, so therefore I don't have to be professional. So if I don't get paid, why should I be professional? You know, I mean, I've got an opinion like any one of you guys. You've all got an opinion. So I do, and as I'm not paid, I'm not sponsored. Therefore, why do I need to be professional? You know, this isn't a job for me. It's a hobby. So, but people can't differentiate between what I do on YouTube to what people do on Sky Sports. You know, like some people see it as the same kind of thing, but it's not. You know, just because I listen, I'm not the greatest speaker in the world. I'm not the for boxing historian. I'm nowhere near it. But I just give my opinion. You guys bounce off my opinion, whether you agree with it, whether you don't agree with it. Try and be civil with it. That's the only kind of thing I ask for. But so many people do it there. Oh, you Brits, y'all do this and y'all do that, and you Brits this and you Brits that. That annoys me. That's when the old block button comes out. You know, and the new narrative over the last few months is, oh, here's another guy on the matchroom payroll. Why? Because I called Wilder 40 years. I'm on the matchroom payroll. How does that work out? Really? And I don't want to be on a matchroom payroll. If they offered me, I would say no. I mean, all truth, I really would. I'm not desperate for money, you know. Where's the Geordie accent? Yeah, so obviously I was born up here. I live up here now, and I spent a great deal of my life growing up down south. So as a small kid, like the mid to late 80s, and like early 90s and that, um, well, no, more late 80s, I suppose. Obviously, going to school, I had the northeast accent. So way back then, people would never heard of Newcastle, never heard of Sunderland, never heard of Washington, Durham, or Wingate, or anything like that. Okay, so people didn't know about the Northeast. So people, well, I say people, kids in school thought I was Scottish. And when you're from the Northeast, you're extra passionate about being British, or sorry, English, because you feel almost left out because you're not part of London. So when you're being called Scottish, you're kind of like, well, no, I'm English. Yeah, but you sound Scottish. So then I started to almost force my accent. You know, I'd watch like because my mum used to love the old movies like Oliver. You know, consider yourself, oh mate, that kind of thing. So I kind of like copy some of their accents to talk to kids in school. Like, all right, mate, that kind of thing. And then eventually it just became my accent. And to the dismay of my father, my father, very, very proud Northeast, very, very proud of it, didn't like Southerners too much. So, of course, sometimes when I come home, I forget that I'm actually doing the Southern accent, and my dad used to go mental, you know, you Southern little bastard, and, you know, just give me like a lacing because I'm changing my accent. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's kind of why I don't have my accent anymore because I forced it out of myself and then it just became normal. Now, if I try and do a Northeast accent, it doesn't feel right. But sometimes it comes out. Sometimes. Especially when I get angry. When I get angry and if I start ranting and raving on some videos and if I listen to the video back, which is very rare that I do other than the edit, I notice that some Northeast comes out in it when I get angry. I have noticed that. And especially when I'm interviewing and chatting to, say, some of the Northeast people here up in like Lewis Ritson and Josh Kelly, when I'm speaking to these guys, I find myself sometimes coming out with a bit of the accent. I'm Newcastle. I'm Newcastle. Sunderland. Who knew? No, 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 no. I'm definitely Sunderland. My mum is Sunderland. Like she's like I'm a big Sunderland fan. My granddad, Sunderland fan, and my brother is a Sunderland fan. Me, I'm kind of like the black sheep, I suppose, like Newcastle. Like I spend like a lot of time in Gateshead in Washington and that. I found myself leaning towards Newcastle as a kid, and I used to say because obviously as a very small kid, you know, I vaguely remember Maradona against England, like Argentina against England in the World Cup, and Peter Beardsley was on the pitch, and then the next World Cup in Italia '90, Paul Gascoigne for like Newcastle. So I used to say to like you know like my mum and that I support Newcastle, and they used to go, "Oh, you support Newcastle? How dare you?" Then my joke of supporting Newcastle just became real, and I would support Newcastle. So obviously I live in Newcastle now, and yeah, I see Newcastle got done in by Manchester United tonight. But well, it's strange because I've been in Newcastle what 2.5 years now, And one of the main reasons I moved up here, not only so my son can get like the best medical care, like because of his condition, as Newcastle is the centre for like Duchenne, but I moved here to go watch Newcastle, and I'm literally 4, maybe 5 minutes drive to St James's Park, and I've been 3 times. That is it. I was a massive fan, but I moved back, and now boxing seems to have taken over, and I don't. And I'm watching Newcastle tonight play like Manchester United, and I'm looking at the team going, I don't recognise these because I haven't really looked at Newcastle football team this season at all, really, other than to kind of see where they are on the table once in a while. But I know some of the players I couldn't recognise. I didn't know who they were. Maradona 10, the greatest of all time. He was. He was. Yeah, that is for sure. He's one of the kind of players, though, isn't it? It's like you appreciated it after the fact. I mean, he did ruin himself a lot, obviously taking the drugs and the stupid things that he does. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people hate Maradona for what he done to England with a handball. But given reverse roles, if, say, for example, Gary Lineker had done that against Argentina on that day, would we be celebrating? Of course we would, you know. Arsenal gunner for life, baby. You see, before I really got into football, like Newcastle and that, some of my friends were like real Tottenham fans. So I knew a lot about Tottenham as a very small kid. I'm talking like Glenn Hoddle, Chris Waddle, obviously, like he come from Newcastle, Ozzy Ardiles, all these kind of ones. So I knew a lot about Tottenham and Spurs and that. And one of my friends actually gave me a Spurs bag, a Tottenham bag, as a kid to put my football kit in. Um, but with Arsenal, I liked Arsenal when Bruce Rioch and that was there. And then Arsene Wenger came in and obviously brought in, or well, Bruce Rioch, he brought in like Dennis Bergkamp and that. I mean, I was never really a huge fan of Thierry Henry, but I appreciate the fact he scored a lot of goals. But yeah, I know more about the historical football than I do what's going on today. As in, for like Arsenal, Malcolm McDonald, of course, I knew about him, and Jim Montgomery, things like that. But not because I've seen them play. Obviously, not. These guys were like retired playing before I was even born. But yeah, I found myself looking at football a lot because I used to play like Football Manager and Subbuteo. Maybe like Subbuteo as a kid. I used to play like a lot of that, and like my dad and my granddad used to talk to me about like Jackie Milburn. He talked to me about Kevin Keegan, like when he used to play. He used to talk to me about Malcolm McDonald, who used to play for Arsenal and that as well as Newcastle. So yeah, Henri was great. Yeah, he was. He was. Lennox is jealous of AJ. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. I think he's mad at himself because he represented Canada rather than the UK, and because of that, he never got the UK love. And he sees Joshua getting all the UK love, and it reminds of him when Frank Bruno used to get it, and he hates it. He absolutely hates it. What sort of route do you think Ritson will take now? Exciting to watch. A little bit more ring discipline, defense work, but I really like one help. I think, yeah, you know what, Ginger? I think that with Ruiz Ritson, it's one of those situations that no boxer on the planet likes the body shots. None of them do, and especially when you're not prepared for it. You're in control of the fight. I mean, Ritson was relying too much on being the aggressor. And I noticed that over his last few fights, he'd just come forward, come forward, come forward, take a few shots, and relied on him in a trade-off, he would win. And he got caught in the stomach, and it just ruined the rest of the fight for him. So of course he was winded and having to fight through that, and he did stupidly well. He did crazy, crazy well. But then of course he goes sit down in the corner. He'd get like a round. He'd just start to get over the body shot, and then another body shot would come in and catch him off guard, and it just ruined it for him. So for me, I'd like to see him rematch Patera. To be perfectly honest. Who do you think will be headlining Saturday night fights this year? Oh, you mean like the regular Sky and all that kind of thing? For Sky, the headliners, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Lawrence Okoli headlining. Ted Cheeseman as well. So obviously we're talking outside of pay-per-view, of course. Boatsi, we may see headline the fight potentially. Lewis Ritson, we will at least one more for here in Newcastle, maybe twice more. Josh Kelly could potentially as well. Um, yeah, yeah, I think a few of those guys for Sky. For BT Sport, obviously Daniel Dubois, Anthony Yard, Billy Joe Saunders. Although I think they'll try and get Billy Joe on pay-per-view, to be honest. Um, with PBC coming in for ITV, Chris Eubank Jr., James DeGale. Again, I think that these guys, ITV, will start going down the pay-per-view route. So maybe not much Saturday night. Hopefully, David Hay and Haymaker will start doing their promotional thing again. They signed like this multi-year contract with the Dave Channel or Channel 5, whichever one it was, and never did anything with it really. So hopefully these guys will get back to it. AJ is made for Wilder and Wilder's made for AJ. I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. In other words, both them guys are very good at dishing it out, but both of them can be susceptible to the big punch as well. So yeah, sure, I do get it. You seen Tommy Fury? Yeah, yeah. I mean, light heavyweight, totally different build to any of the other Furies, right? He's one that's dedicated to the weights, that's for sure. Light heavyweight, so he's like one of the smaller ones. Um, he kind of has the style of Tyson and Huey Fury, I think, to a point. But I think if he applies himself to go for the kill, he could be a real goer. He really could. But would he ever get over Anthony Yard? I don't think Frank Warren would do it, to be honest. I really don't. Cody still have to win my support. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, see, a Coley, he's like hit and miss, isn't he? It's like one fight, he's like, man, he's destructive, he's awesome, and then next fight is like, oh my God, you're boring, man. Too much hugging, too much this, too much that. But again, that's lack of professional career. That's all that is. Looking forward to fighting with Kate Taylor this year. Always good friend. Actually, yeah, you see, Kate Taylor, I would imagine we'll see her in another headliner because she's already had one headliner at the, where was it? Was it the Brentwood or the Copper Box? I forget where it was now. But Kate Taylor had a headliner. I would imagine she'll probably get one in Ireland this year, especially if she can um, defeat Serrano, the sister. So, Huey Fury's average at best. He's gun shy. Well, yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, Huey Fury's got all the ability in the world, but I think he's been pushed too early, in my opinion. I mean, he's got the skills to frustrate anybody. It's just that he can't knock people out unless you're a B-level fighter. It just seems to be that way. Inactivity as well, and so good. Sarah Bowers, good night. Take care, Sarah. Be good. If you can't be good, be careful. That's what mum used to always say to me. Would a female boxer ever pay per view? um, with the love that Eddie Hearn has for Katie Taylor, yes. Honestly, I think he'll at least try it. I just don't like Wilder or Fury because of them trash talking too much. Um, yeah, I mean, for me, I wish Tyson would be less hateful towards the other British fighters like Anthony Joshua, Tony Bellew, the way he was as well, Dillian Whyte. I think he needs to be more on their side and stop taking the American side all the time. So that's from a biased British perspective. But at the same time, I do like trash talk. I do like Tyson Fury. I like the way he trash talks. I think he's funny. And the same with Dillian Whyte. He does the same kind of thing. So, I can't really poke a stick at Tyson and then support Dylan when they do pretty much the same kind of thing. They trash Anthony Joshua. So, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Nunes. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that fight will ever happen? Not too sure. Didn't she knock out some, was it a cyborg or something? I mean, I don't watch MMA, but I kind of seen a headline of that somewhere. His fighting style makes him get outboxed and lose loads of rounds before he gets going. Huey Fury. Yeah, you're right. You are right. I think Huey's one of those kind of guys where he's potentially very good, but after all that time out and then gets in the ring with Joseph Parker, I know he had that kind of exhibition fight, but that was just stupid. That was a stupid, stupid move. I mean, for me, again, he's kind of like doing what Anthony Yarde's doing. See, he bypassed the whole British level. Then he takes a loss and then goes to the British level. I mean, I do feel Huey is above British level. He's probably European level right now. And against Kubrat Pulev, he allowed a cut to lose him that fight. But Chantel Cameron, yeah. I mean, Chantel Cameron, she's a good little fighter. She's a good little fighter. Um, Anna Woolhouse, yeah, she's nice. Bit too skinny, I think. Bit too skinny. I don't mind female boxing, although I think it's equal. Don't equal men's boxing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It should be 3 minute rounds. You've got like a couple of females who do 3 minute rounds, like Nicola Adams. She does 3 minute rounds, but Katie Taylor don't. Clarissa Shields don't either. But yeah, she's saying that equal pay for women as it is for men. Okay, you can only get equal pay for women if people watch. you know, if there's no interest in like a female fighting, then why should you get paid the same as what men do? Do women pay per view? No. Could they pay per view at some point? Maybe. But first of all, you've got to do 3 minute rounds, right? And men fight bare chested, so women should too. Just my opinion. I'll just say. Uh, Josh Taylor is some fighter. One foot. Yes, I agree. Josh Taylor is phenomenal. He's a very, very good fighter. So much better than what I thought he was going to be. And that win over O'Hara Davis has done him the world of good. And he's potentially one of the favourites to win the World Boxing Super Series, isn't he? 140. I mean, there is arguments as well. But I don't know. Could he win? Certainly. Certainly. I mean, for me, Josh Taylor's my pick. Regis Prograis potentially could, but that'd be a great final, though, wouldn't it? Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograis. That'd be a great final. Well, I'll start his petition for equal pay for women. Yeah, yeah, because he wants to be one. Yeah, he wants to get himself pregnant. You don't like Clarissa? She's a bit gobby. She is very gobby. Yeah, so she's one that says that equal pay for women and da da da. It's like, right, okay, fine. Go headline a show then. Fill out this stadium. Fill out an arena. Do 3 minute rounds in. But they don't want to do that. They just want, well, I'm a woman, so therefore I should automatically. No, you shouldn't. It's an entertainment industry. If you bring eyes and ears to your fight, you get paid well. If you don't, then you won't get paid well. It's as simple as that. Sport and icons. Who won? Lost the vote for most exposed. Most exposed was Deontay Wilder. Yeah, Deontay Wilder. Although it's pretty close with Jamal Charlo. A lot of people saying Jamal Charlo. There was a good few people saying David Haye, but again, people knew David Haye was shot. Yeah. Deontay Wilder won that one, and with Jamal Charlo very close behind him. Yeah, exactly, Craig. Exactly, bro. Lee White. Why am I attracted to Katie Taylor? Katie Taylor's fit, man. I like Katie Taylor. I like her a lot. If I wasn't married, I'm not saying that she would with me, but I'm saying if she was willing, I would. I'm just saying. Prime Hay versus Usyk. That's a very good one, mate. That's a very good Prime Hay. Well, Hay's always been a little bit chinny. Not as chinny as maybe a lot of people were saying, but I think Usyk is just a more clever boxer. David Hay relied on power and speed. Usyk relies on boxing skills. So I don't know. Good question, though. Boss would wash her back. I'd rather wash her front. You You're old enough to be a. I'm not old enough to be a father. What are we talking about? How old is Kate Taylor now? What, 30, something like that? 30 something? Michelle Joy Phelps or Woolhouse? Why can't I have both, bad guy? Why can't I have both? That's a horrible. If I could put like a bit of I don't know. I like, yeah. And Michelle Joy Phelps is great to watch and whatever, and she's very good at her job. Her laugh gets a bit forced sometimes. Anna Woolhouse, she's a bit of a tease, I think. I don't think she knows too much about boxing. I think she's got cue cards everywhere. But if you, I don't know, yeah, both. I want both. You know what? I don't really know why I'm talking about the personality. Who cares? It's what they I like in the stat, right? Yeah, yeah. But I don't think my wife would be too interested in agreeing for me for celebrity ones. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing, you see, with Wilder saying he wants to be pregnant, and suddenly it's not mentioned. But yeah, imagine if AJ said that. Whew, the videos that would be coming out would be unbelievable. They all went in on Oscar De La Hoya for wearing fishnets. They all went in on Adrian Broner for pretending to kiss Tank Davis, which was dodgy, by the way. But they all went in on him. But yeah, Wilder says he wants to be pregnant. What? So you want a man's? Listen, I ain't going to go there. How would you get pregnant without another man's? Keep with the community guidelines. Keep with the community guidelines. David Plant, mate, how are you, brother? I know, man. Imagine if your boy becoming undisputed. What's that one? Anonymous. Are you queer? Who's that to? Who's queer? Bo Galata 2 was the best fight ever. Was that the one where some parachutist landed in the ring or something like that, or got caught on the edge of the ring? I remember something like that. And Galata kept hitting him in the balls, didn't they? Uh, why does Wilder appear on the American equivalent of Loose Women? Is this what his manager does for him? Yeah, exactly. See, Wilder's kind of like one of those um, guys where anybody with any kind of platform, he's on. He's so desperate for attention. That's why he goes on like a lot of his fanboy channels, and that's why they suck him off so bad because they're, please, Wilder, come have a chat with me. Please, Deontay, I love you. Please, Deontay, can I buy your children Christmas present? Because they know he will. He's always open, always available, which is a good thing. He's always available for his fans. Can't always say the same for Joshua, can we? You know, like getting hold of Joshua is like getting hold of the damn Pope. But in some ways, but Wilder's just keen to just chat with anybody. 178 are going to court to see who Wilder's baby's daddy. Didn't Hitman Hart do a parachute back in the day? Didn't tattoo too good. Yep, he died. He did. Thoughts on Shady Finkel saying Fury won't improve in the rematch and Wilder will get better? Man, I'll tell you what, Ross. I mean, Shady Finkel says a lot of garbage. He really does. I think he needs to, I don't know, maybe start planning his own funeral or something because he's just getting to the point now where he's coming out with stupidity. And Wilder hasn't improved or got any different in the last, 11 years? And suddenly now he's going to get better? And Fury isn't. Yeah, Fury's the one on the comeback. I mean, that's just pure stupidity. But that's cool. If he wants to feel Wilder with that kind of confidence and everybody else, cool. Go for it. Go for it. Um, counterpunch Bruce Fain the other day. Yeah, yeah. I mean, both of them are very good. I mean, I've got like a whole load of them, so I'm gonna do shout outs to all of them for all the channels that I'm subscribed to. So I'll do like one a day. I don't want to just give everybody like a whole list in one go because if I did that, I mean, you guys aren't just going to subscribe to each and every one of them. So if I do like one each day, you guys can just have like a little look and just check them out and subscribe if you want to have subscribed to them. So, well, I couldn't help but laugh at his cheap bottle of Profesco. He opened on New York. He was 20 million. He's popping. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't see his social media, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Yeah, he's blocked me on Twitter and Instagram. Because he's afraid of me. He's scared. Prime Ward versus Calzaghe. I think Calzaghe. Bruce Bain goes hard straight from the video title. Yeah, it does. He's definitely my top five. Who's that one? Oh, that I think I've seen something about Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was, I mean, he's in my top two all time favorite heavyweights anyway. It's a toss up between him and Bruno for me. I'm not saying like these two were the best of the best ever. Not like that. I'm just saying that they were just like my favorites. Again, I'm biased British, but mixed to boxing today, he comes and goes like seasons. Yeah, I don't know. I used to like him. I'm not keen anymore. He be, he started falling into the wrong crowd. Ring IQ boxing talk. Yep, good. Very, very good. He's very good with what he does. With he speeds up his audio and that. It's very good. I hate that Nesta guy. Nobody likes him. I'd love to see Joshua versus Big Baby Miller. There's a very good chance it could happen, Scott. Very good chance. I was honestly laughing at the Wilder Fury fight. It's funny swinging around like a. Yeah, honestly, I think Wilder's terrible. He's terrible. His boxing skills terrible, but at the same time, it does take skill to land that big punch, I suppose. Lewis had great uppercuts. Ask Bruno. Bruno was always susceptible to an uppercut. If you notice with Bruno, every time he got done, it was an uppercut that done him. White versus Lewis. Oh man, Dillian Whyte beats him. Dillian Whyte would knock out Lennox Lewis in 3 rounds. Come on, Lennox, where are you? All mouth, no balls in your trousers. Come back, take on Dillian Whyte. If you beat Dillian Whyte, go take on Anthony Joshua. Because clearly, I think Lennox Lewis wants a payday against Joshua. So Dillian Whyte will beast him, break him in two. Thanks, Jolly bro. Uh, Warrington versus Kid Galahad. That's a very, very good fight. Well, you know what? I mean, I like Josh Warrington. I've always liked him. But against Lee Selby, I thought Selby was going to beat him. Due to the experience of the occasion, and same again with um, Carl Frampton. So that's twice now I've written off Josh Warrington. I mean, as much as I like him, that's twice I've written him off. And Kid Galahad, I'm a massive fan of. And I'm torn between the two, but I'm tired of ripping of putting down Josh Warrington, saying he's not going to win, and he proves me wrong. So I'm actually going to go for Josh Warrington in that one. In a very close fight, probably split decision. White would snap Lewis in two, definitely. Barry's going to get worked over by Warrington. Very good chance of it. I mean, Barry, Kid Galahad, he's one of those kind of guys that one fight he will look phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Next fight he looks average. But again, I think a lot of it is level of opposition. I think the better the opposition, the better he's going to be. What if Dillian White ended up being undisputed? I did actually say that one, Scott, once. Probably about this time last year, actually. I said that you see a lot of people, they're looking at Joshua, Parker, and Wilder. Okay. They're saying who's going to be undisputed. And I said, there's a very good chance it could be not one of those three. And I was actually talking about Dillian Whyte. But people's like, oh, don't be so stupid. Dillian Whyte, don't be so stupid. Now look, maybe. He's one fight away from becoming a unified champion. If he was to fight Joshua and beat Joshua, then he's only one fight away from being undisputed. But we probably won't ever get undisputed because Wilder don't want it. And I actually think Wilder is more afraid of Dillian Whyte than he is Joshua. Warrington's a beast, can't see Galahad beating him. Good call, Shoulder. Very good call. Has Lewis been saying he can beat White today? No, he hasn't. But he keeps on putting down Joshua every chance he gets in favour of his mate Wilder. Warrington versus Quigg. Yeah, see, again, I mean, Quigg's one of my favourite fighters. So again, my bias side would probably say Quigg, but reality probably going to be Warrington. So, right, you know what, guys? I've been on here for 2 hours now. I was only planning on doing about half hour. So I'm gonna have to go. It's 1:30 in the morning. I can feel my voice starting to go. I'm a bit dry, so go get a drink, get a bit of kip, I think, and hope everybody has a great. Oh, bad guy! I'm gonna screenshot that one, bad guy, and I'm gonna use it as evidence against you. But yeah, yeah, I know that you feel that way, bad guy, London. Anyway, everybody have a great evening. I know it's very early. Enjoy work tomorrow, your day off tomorrow. Spend time with your kids or whatever it is that you're all doing. Hope everybody has a great evening. And so let me close this one down real quick before I forget. No, I don't want to save that. Okay, so I want to shoot then. So good night, everybody. Enjoy your day tomorrow. Enjoy your evening. David Plant, big up. Bad guy, Andy, AK, Bob. You know what? I'm going to go through everybody's name. But big up to all of you guys for spending a bit of time with me. Click the thumbs up before you go. Do not forget, including all the haters. Big up to all you guys too. You keep everything entertaining. Catch you all on the next